Hi guys, welcome to Charities Bubble USA, your number one channel. This is the home of opportunity. This is the home where I try to just tell you all about US, because by the time you come here, you win your DV, you will be well equipped with what to do. So guys, sit tight, watch this video from the beginning to the end, and you will get something. So I live in the US, like I said, just a little introduction of myself. I came here with a DV lottery, and I am a US citizen, a very proud US citizen, guys. Like, oh my goodness, like that's something that I am really happy about. And my name is Charity Ngangam. This is my YouTube channel, Charities Bubble USA, your number one channel. If you have not subscribed, kindly consider subscribing. If you are my subscriber, thank you for coming back and watching the videos and commenting and asking the questions. If you have not shared a video, please share my videos. Give them a thumbs up, guys. Those thumbs up are awesome, awesome, awesome. So, guys, just to thank you for the milestones that you have taken this channel. I have seen overwhelming support. I can't thank you enough, guys. Just thank you from the bottom of my heart. So I hope you most of you have done the DV, and I know there are still some people who have not applied. Some of them are waiting for their passports. Some of them are just, they're just waiting for the right time to do it. So if you haven't done it, so kindly consider doing it. If you're still waiting for your passport, I just hope that it will come sooner so that you can do this application. So guys, today I am going to talk about the host, and I'm going to just tell you about our experience with the host. So when we won our DV lottery, we needed to look for a host because when you fill out your DS260, you have to tell them the address of where you will be going to live. Now we found a host. Yes, we found a host, and we were supposed to go to California. And our host was really nice. He was checking on us all the time. He was good. So we were like, we are all set. And we put his address in the DS260. And of course, after you have sent it to Kentucky, what happens is that when you go for your interview, the consular will ask you, where are you going to live in the US? And that is why, of course, in your DS260, you have already previously stated the address. So the address that you put there is what you will tell the consular where you are going to live. Because when you get your host, you have to ask them for their address. Like I said, this address is very important when you're filling out your DS260, because that is where that you are going to live. So you have to look for a host. You have to look for a host, and that is why I said networking is very important. So what happened is that our host gave us his address, and that is what we used. And when we went to the American embassy, we said that we were going to California. So after we got our visa, it was very unfortunate that when my husband called him, he refused. He said, "No, I cannot host a family. I do not have a big house." Like, we were just shocked. We were stranded because by that time, when immediately we came from the American embassy, I remember we had started auctioning our stuff. We just immediately that same day is when we started putting up our business on sale. We already had people we were looking at, and we were negotiating about to get rid of our stuff. But we didn't have a host because he said that he wasn't going to host us. So we were kind of stranded. So we had to go back to square one and start looking for people. And remember, guys, like I told you, we did not know anybody in the US. We didn't have family. We didn't have friends. So we were stranded. We were very, very, very much stranded. So what we did is that just by the grace of God, there was this lady who my husband knew, and he had a brother who lived here in the US, and that brother was kind enough to say that he was going to get someone to host us. So that is how we ended up finding our host, and so we ended up in Kansas instead of going to California. And what we did not know at that time is that we were supposed to change the address, like to change the address of where we had stated in our DS260. We were supposed to contact the embassy, or even if we didn't contact the embassy when we were in Kenya, as soon as we got here in the US, we were supposed to go to the post office and just say that we had changed our address, but we did not know that. Remember, we had paid for our permanent resident card, because you have to pay for that after you get your visa. And the address that our permanent resident card was going to was in California. And we had to change because we found our host in Kansas. So we were coming to Kansas. So what happened is that when they sent our permanent resident card, when they sent all our stuff, they sent it to California, and we were in Kansas. And at that time, we didn't have an idea that we were supposed to change our address. So that was a hurdle. So before we knew that we were supposed to go to the post office, change our address to Kansas, it took a while. It took a while because, like when you come to the US, there's so many things that you do not know, but eventually you find out. So guys, if you have a hurdle like that your host has changed their mind, they do not want to host you, as soon as you get to the US, what you should do is to tell your host to take you to the post office so that you can change your address to the current address that you have gone to. Because, people change minds, and, people are different. So sitting here, I think when I talk about the host, because you will need a host when you win your DV lottery, what you need to do is that even if you do not know anybody in the US, I normally talk about networking. What is networking? Networking means that you have people who you talk to. You don't necessarily need to know them personally, but you talk to through the internet. Like now, since I opened my YouTube channel, I know so many people that I interact with every day in my life. So where you are, wherever you are, when you are planning to immigrate, because when you get your DV lottery, you will be it will be an immigrant visa. That means that you are coming to live in the US permanently. But if you're coming here as a student, or you're coming here for a conference, or you're coming here from, look at this video that I was talking about here, all those types of visa that I talked about, apart from the DV, those are called the non-immigrant visas. There are different categories. They are called non-immigrant, and they are temporary because you are not coming to live here permanently. But when you win a DV, you come here, you become a permanent resident. That is, you are living here permanently, and eventually after 5 years, you will file to become a US citizen. Now, so maybe you don't know a host, you don't know anybody. Start doing networking right now. Start getting to know the right people. Start getting to know the right people. Start connecting. Let's assume you're Catholic somewhere, and you find out that there's a Catholic church maybe in the US. Start looking at their websites, because all of them have every church here in the US has a website. Go to those websites. Some of them bring mass during every Sunday. You find that you can go, you can be commenting, whatever, all that stuff. People get noticed through that stuff. If you are maybe a Seventh-day Adventist, and you have seen a website, I know, like here in Wichita, there's a Seventh-day Adventist, and they normally put their stuff online. Even my church, they put their stuff online. You find that is how you connect. Connect with people who have benefits, because you necessarily do not need to know someone personally, but maybe you know a friend who has a friend in the US. Ask them for a friend request. When something is posted there, just comment, ask questions, start those interactions, and that is how you find people are able to get help. They are able to get help. Now, if you have family members, it's okay. If you have friends, it's okay. So I talked about that person who doesn't know anybody, because there are so many people who have been telling me, Charity, what if I don't know a host? Who is going to host me in the US? You need to start doing networking. Networking is very, very important. Even let's assume that you're having a business wherever you are right now, and you are outside the US. If you do not network with people, maybe you call your friends, they come for your business, then you tell your friends to call their friends, and their friends to call their friends. That is what is called networking. That from one person, that person has a friend, that friend has a friend, and that, like, it's a big chain. It's like a cobweb, a web whereby, and that's why it's called a website, because it overflows to very, 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 very many directions. You find that one person can have a friend, and because every person has a friend, you connect like that. You connect with these people, with those people, and that would be a very, 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 very easy way for you to get a host. Now, When someone has agreed to host you, remember, US is different from Kenya. It's very, very different from Kenya, guys. Like very, very, very different. Even the way things are done is very, very different. You find that here we work by schedule. We work by schedule. And what I mean by schedule is like, I have a certain time that I go to work. I have a certain time that I have to sleep. I have a certain time that I have to take care of my kids. I have a certain time that, like everybody, it's schedule. You just get it. It takes time before you fit in, but you have to fit to a certain schedule. There's a time that you have to go for your children's conferences in school. There's a time that you have to go and take the kids to their functions because you have to attend. You have to give them rights. Your kids need your presence there, in the activities. So you have to plan everything. You have to plan everything. So you find that you have to be in very, very, very good conversations with your host. There's that conversation that you have to talk about, like, what do you expect from your host and what does the host expect from you? Because you find that most people who have been hosted have had very bad experiences. Some of them don't even talk to each other. Someone hosted you and you don't even talk to each other. You don't like each other anymore. And maybe you live in the same state, but you don't even want to see each other. And that person was kind enough to bring them into their home, to host you, and even to give you their food. Because even if you got one plate of food and the next day you went to the store to buy your own food to cook in the house, you're still using their stuff. Because sometimes it's hard for someone who is in Kenya to come and rent a house here. Because let's assume that you carry a pocket money for like $1,000. If you have $1,000, yes, you can rent a house, but you will still need your host for them to sign up with you, to co-sign with you, because you do not have credit. It's a video that I talked about credit. Credit shows how much you have been paying your debts. So you have to have a talk with your host to know the expectations. For example, maybe your host works at night and your host needs to sleep in the day. And when you are new, you haven't gotten a job. Of course, when your host is working, you will be sleeping, and then your host comes in the morning, they want to go to bed. So you do not expect your host will come from work and then maybe they will take you wherever you want to be taken. Maybe you want to go and do your stuff. No, you have to tell them, now when I come, do you have a day off that maybe you can take us so that we can go and get our IDs and all that stuff. You have to talk about that stuff. Of course, like I told you, when you come to the US, you as a permanent resident, when you win your DV lottery, you have come here to start a new life. You have come here to start a new life. So you will need a house, you will need a job, you will need all that stuff. But your host is your guide. Your host is not there to pay your whatever your fare to come to the US. Your host is not going to host you for a long time. It's just it's a bridge for you to stand up. So the first thing that should be in your mind when you come here in the US is, when I get there, the first thing that I will do is to ask my host when they are available to go and take me to get my ID, to get my social, and all that stuff. After you have had that sorted out, do not stop. You can ask your host, where can I get a job? Where can I get a job? Of course, if your host maybe is whatever is busy, or maybe they sleep during the day, they work at night, you find that you also can look for other ways that you can network. For example, you look for a church nearby, because you just Google. When you Google on the maps, every place that has an address, that has anything, a shop or anything, it has an address. So maybe you can go to the computer. And it's good that here in the US, the internet is there. All the houses, most houses, they have internet, and they have, even if they don't have a computer, they have a laptop or your phone. Just Google churches nearby, churches near me. If you Google churches near me, you'll see that most of the churches are going to show up. So what you're supposed to do is that you can go to that church and then you introduce yourself. I remember us, we went to a church that our host was going to. And then when we moved out, and it was good because we were in the same religion. So that one went very well, because when he was going to church, we were going to church. But as we weren't hosted for a long time, we were just hosted for a short time. And then when we moved out, it was very fortunate that we moved out where we went to find an apartment. There was a church just right next to us. So that is where we went. We went, and the first thing you do when you go to a church, you introduce yourself to the pastor, because the pastor will be the one who will make you get known to the other people. I remember by that time, because when we went to our host, our kids were going to different schools, and by that time we did not have a car. So when we went to our apartment and we saw that there was a church nearby, there was a school. So we went and talked to that pastor and told the pastor, now we do not have a means of transportation, and since it is across the road, can our kids be coming to this school? So that was an advantage. We got a church and our kids got a school. You see what I mean? You have to be able to talk, like to stand up for yourself and research and know stuff for yourself. Do not wait for your host to do everything for you. Do not. You have to be proactive. You cannot wait for your host to do everything for you. Another thing you have to talk about, because here we have bills. There are bills. You have to buy food, you have to pay for electricity, you have to pay for gas, you have to pay for the internet, you have to pay for so many things, even water, even trash, all that, even the house rent. There are so many bills, even the phone, everything you have to pay for. You have to be in conversation with your host and ask them, am I expected to contribute anything? And I said it's good to come with a little bit of pocket money. Don't just come empty-handed. Come with pocket money so that even you can chip in and buy milk, And when you come here, you will find it very difficult. You will find it a little bit hard, because if you're used, for example, like us when we came from Kenya, we were used to the shilling. So the first time we went to the store to buy milk, we found that milk was like $2. So we were like, oh my goodness, milk is 200 Kenya shillings. So we were kind of shocked. So that is very normal, because you are used to a different currency, and this is a different currency that you're finding here. But it's okay. Have something, have something. Talk to your host. If you have kids, you have to know, let's assume you have kids and you have a family, for example, as we came as a family, you have to decide who will go to work first. Is it the man who will go to work first, or is it the woman who will go to work first? Because here in the US, it doesn't matter. Anybody can go to work. Anybody can go to work, as long as you are working for the best interest of the family. Maybe your host has small kids and they don't have someone to watch them. Do they expect you to babysit for their kids? What arrangement are you going to make with your host? And what I can advise anybody is that when you are being hosted, when you come here to the US, because you have come with a visa that you will get a job very fast, make it your priority that you are not going to stay with your host for a long time, because you want that respect to last. You want it to last. But if you want to go and stay there for 1 year, I've seen people who have been hosted for 1 year, and I'm like, really? Why are you being hosted for 1 year? You have a job, and and apartments are full. You don't have to go to a very expensive apartment, especially if you choose to go to a state that is not very expensive. I know there are states that are very expensive. For example, if you decide to go to California, or you decide to go to Massachusetts, you decide to go to New York, those are expensive. But if you go to you come to a state like Kansas, you will even find an apartment that is worth $350. So even if you are working the minimum wage, $11, $12, at least you will get like $700 every 2 weeks. You are able to rent your own house. You don't even, sometimes you are like, how will I travel? I know, and I know there's someone that I know that came, she didn't have a car. So when she got a job, she looked for an apartment next to where she was working. So she would work from her apartment and come to work. That is something that you can consider, because, most people say that you have to buy a car before you rent a house. For me, I think for us, a house was was a priority as compared to buying a car. Yes, you need a car to move you from point A to point B, but we felt like an apartment was our first priority. A place, a place where you can stay and you have your own freedom. And you find that here, when you're looking for an apartment, the only thing that you need to worry about is buying, maybe you can buy mattresses. Even if you don't have money to buy a big bed, it's okay, but just buy mattresses. and you can even put them on the floor. It's okay. You are starting life. You're starting life, and you have to start from scratch. And then when you get into the house, of course, there's a fridge, there's a microwave. And if you do not have a place to do laundry, because you normally have to do laundry with a laundry machine, you can ask your host, where do we go to do laundry? There are laundry stores whereby you just go. Those stores are specifically to just wash clothes, and that's it. So you have to be you have to have a plan when you're coming to live in the US, and you have to have a conversation with your host, because most people do not. So they just come and they expect that the host is going to buy for them their food. The host is going to continue paying the rent and paying on the bills. Even the host will get tired. They will get tired, and that's where trouble comes in. And you find that people start saying, oh, my host was bad, or my host did this. No, your host did not do anything. Is that you did not have a plan. Everything here in the US is a plan. You have to sit. Even when you're going to the store, you find that you write a paper for yourself, because you do not want to over budget. You write what what you need to buy, because you do not want to over budget. If you have decided, I am going to an appointment and it's only 30 minutes, it's only 30 minutes. You are not going to extend, because you work. Time is money here. Time is money. And it's even it even relates even to the work that you're doing, because you are paid by the hour. Every hour you're paid. When you clock out, then you are not paid. So time is money. You have to talk to your host, and it depends. So there was another person who was asking me, which is the best state to live. Now, it doesn't matter where you want to live. It depends on your expectations. But for me, I think living in Kansas, I've seen so many advantages, because it's a middle state whereby things are not very expensive. And after you stay here, you can even find an apartment worth like $500, $300, depending on what you want. On some areas. Of course, there are those expensive apartments whereby some people are like, they want to go to an apartment that is you are paying two bedroom or 3 bedroom house $1,500 still here in Kansas. So it depends on someone's class. But for me, I find it instead of paying an apartment $1,000 or $1,500, I'd rather buy my own house and be paying the mortgage, because I like, for me, I think paying some money to own something is better than paying someone for rent that I don't own that house. So guys, those conversations about hosts have to happen. Even if you have won your green card right now and you're filling out your DS-260, if you have not talked to your host, it doesn't matter. Even if it's your sister or your brother or your cousin or your friend, you have to know their expectations. So when you get a job, the other thing that you should start telling your host is to take you where you can get apartments. They're very nice hosts. Like our host was kind enough even to lease the house together, because we didn't have credit. We had to use his, and then we were able to get that apartment, because when you come here, you find that they don't know your credit history, so you might not get a house very fast. If you're buying a car, you don't have to go for a very, very, very expensive car. Just go for a cheap car. And then after you have established yourself, you have stayed for a long time and you're good, then you can buy a better car. So guys, when you're looking for a host, you have to, it's very, very important for you to have those conversations, because I've seen like very, very bad and horrible experiences. You're coming here, you expect that your host is everything. Now, your host is not everything. Your host is just a bridge. And you want to make sure that you're having a very good relationship with your host, even when you leave them, because they were kind enough to host you. So have those conversations before you come here, so that even you can feel proud that that person is the one who helped me out. They showed me the way to go to the store. They showed me where to go to laundry. They showed me even where to go to church, or even to get my first apartment. And also they show you the manners, like the normal things, the things that you can ignore when you come to the US, because they have lived here for a long time. They show you how things are done. They show you how things are done. For example, a very good example that I can give is you find that in Africa there is no hurry in Africa, whereby if you tell someone that you are going to meet at 2, that person you wait for them from 2, and they're telling you that they are on their way, that they will show up 2 hours later. No, they will show you that here you have to keep time, because if you don't keep time, then you won't survive here. You have to keep time. So guys, I wanted to talk about the host because I know that will be a very, 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 very important aspect when you win your DV lottery. Not even when you win your DV lottery, even when you come here with all the other kinds of visas, all other ones, you will need an address of where you are going. Even whether you're a student, even you will need an address, unless you want to rent your own house on Airbnb, of which most people will not be able to do that. And of course, if you want to rent a house, at least you need to know someone. I know you need to know someone when you're coming to live in the US. And that is why, even in the American embassy, they want to know where you are going because they do not want you to get lost. They understand that you have lived a different life. And when you come to the US, it's another different life. So, guys, when you win your DV, you will start having those conversations with your host so that you can be successful. I want you guys to be successful. So thank you for your time. Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe to my channel, like this video, and until next time, bye and God bless you.